All right, guys. I'm not there, and so we're going to try and do this a little bit this way today. I can give you some information here that you can trace some of that out in some of the what's the word I'm looking for? In some of the instructions and things I give you as a follow up to this, and then you can be working on your projects. And so there's some information that's coming your direction, and there's some things I'm going to need you to do with it. So first, we're talking about Plato's ontology, the nature of the way that things exist according to Plato. He turns his attention away from sort of generally the nature and the way that things exist, and then he turns his attention away from the way things exist generally, and then focuses in on the way human beings exist. And the way that human beings exist in the mind of Plato is that human beings are souls that are stuck in a body, and that body is part of the material universe, and so it's corrupt and it's bad. It needs some getting rid of. That's the right way to put that. It needs some getting rid of so that the human soul can live properly on into eternity, because the human soul needs to be set free from the physical prison that it's in the body and the existence that we live in now, which I told you on Friday is not necessarily the way the Bible describes it or understands it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the myth of the metals, Plato's understanding the human soul, and then I'm going to have you do some comparing. So first, Plato believes that there are three basic categories of human souls. The first of those categories is gold. So gold souls are individuals with access to the world of ideas and the metaphysical, with access to truth. These would be philosophers and teachers. And individuals with gold soul are rare. They are less common because gold is rare and valuable. But they are the most enlightened, the most equipped for education and philosophy, and the individuals who need most to sort of be in charge of things because they have access to the truth. They understand the abstract truth of things like justice and equity and beauty. They understand the right sets of concepts in order to lead and govern a particular society, and so they need to be in charge, period, end of story. The gold soul is identifiable by its ability to reason, its ability to do philosophy and gain wisdom. Basically, for the world of Plato and the way that Plato understands it, the more you are like Plato, Socrates, or Aristotle, the more likely it is that you possess the gold soul. The more likely it is you possess the gold soul that is necessary to understand the truth of the realm of the metaphysical. These individuals are critically important to a society, but they are also critically rare in society. And so that leads to a bit of a tension point. We're talking about a minority of individuals in the world of Plato who need to be given a majority of the responsibilities, which starts to sound a bit like we're making a king out of a group of really just educated elites. And that's a fair critique, because that's basically what he's advocating for. And we're getting to that in the creation of his republic as we sort of piece Plato's philosophy together. So the gold soul represents the educated elite. Now, it's not just educated like, I know 2 + 2 is 4, and I know 2 squared is 4. It's not educated like that kind of educated. It's educated in the realm of the metaphysical, this realm of idea, this realm of pure truth in the broad light of the sun outside of the cave. These are the individuals who have been given access to some sort of transcendent reality that allows them to understand our present one. And so the first thing we need to recognize is that Socrates admits that these people do exist, and they are the most important people in society. Their soul is gold, and we ought to listen to them. The second group of individuals that Plato talks about are people with a silver soul. Now, the silver soul is what he calls the auxiliary. They're not sort of the ruling class. They're not philosopher king material necessarily, to use Plato's terms. But these individuals are protectors. In our day and age, we would put like military and firefighter and EMS and police and whatever else, sort of into this category of individuals who serve the public good by being willing to lay down their lives. Plato says what they understand is a little bit better than the next group of soul we're going to talk about. It's still not as good as the gold, but what they possess is a handle on things like charity and this kind of selfless giving and this self-sacrifice that a lot of these other groups don't necessarily understand or exemplify in a particular way. The silver soul is next prominent in a given society. They are not most prominent, but they're not least prominent. They're somewhere in the middle. But the responsibility of these individuals as silver soul is to understand what they can from the philosopher king, to adhere to those concepts of truth and justice and beauty and whatever else that they can understand and they can be provided in their education. And then two, to serve and protect society at large by ensuring that the community is safe and that people are taken care of to the best of the ability of these individuals with silver souls. Third is the bronze soul individuals. And bronze soul individuals are what what Plato would call producers. These individuals would be the bulk of us. These people are they are smart. He's not articulating that anybody in this category is necessarily dumb. But bronze individuals do not have access to the truth of the metaphysical, quite like the silver ones, and definitely not like gold-souled individuals. And these individuals demonstrate their sort of bronzeness by a kind of technical skill, by a kind of technical knowledge, by a kind of wisdom that lends itself to some sort of craftsmanship, typically. So these individuals are artisans, they're craftsmen, they're carpenters, they're metalsmiths, goldsmiths. These individuals are skilled labor. It might be agricultural in terms of farming. It might be in terms of tending flocks and sheep and taking care of animals. But these individuals are primarily responsible for keeping society moving. They produce the vast majority of stuff that society needs: food, clothing, shelters, tools and weapons, and that kind of thing. They are the most prominent and the most prevalent, and they have the least access to the metaphysical. These individuals need to be educated, they need to be taught, they need to be informed from our philosopher king types and things like this. However, the best course of life for these individuals is to go about their bronze soulness in the best possible ways that they can. They should strive to be the most knowledgeable and skilled in their craft. They should seek to demonstrate the truth of the metaphysical wherever it may be found in their work. And this requires a bit of educating on one hand and a lot of technical skill on the other. Now, it's really hard to listen to this and not sort of grade Plato's versions of gold, silver, bronze by sort of starting to articulate that, okay, so if Plato thinks of people in gold, silver, bronze, then he values the gold people a lot. He doesn't like the silver ones as much, and he definitely doesn't like the bronze ones. And that's not necessarily accurate to what Plato is talking about. Plato is concerned that societies function sort of according to some abstract metaphysical realm of ideas, sort of truth. And the way he understands the human person is that individuals, like bronze-souled individuals, have a technical have a technical expertise that lends them to applying that expertise in a particular way, which is a benefit to the rest of society. And they need to do so, and they need to do so to the best of their abilities so that society can benefit from their work. Bronze individuals should be as selfless as is possible in the creation and in the work that they do. They should also be striving to reflect the truth of the metaphysical in whatever it is that they do, which will lead him to sort of grade certain kinds of production at some point in time. However, he's not necessarily grading the soul quite as harshly as we might think: gold, silver, bronze. He's simply saying bronze is more prevalent. it's less precious. And so there's more of it to go around, and there's more of these individuals to go around in a given society. The society, however, still needs these bronze-souled individuals and their skilled labor in order to function properly. Likewise, we need silver-souled individuals to be our protectors and our caretakers at our greatest times of need. And of course, we all need gold-souled individuals to teach us the wisdom of the metaphysical. All of these categories of people, according to Plato, they're all necessary for the way that society ought to function. They're all important. They're all critical to how this ought to work. However, some of them are more precious than others, and some of them have specific tasks and roles that they need to fulfill in order for society to continue to function the way that it is designed to function. Now, that means this. For Plato, those individuals who are born silver-souled will forever be such. There is no changing it. And those individuals born with gold souls will forever be such. There is no changing that. And there is no changing the bronze soul that you're born with either. And so this system, while it does attempt to value everybody in society, does caste. And caste is a thing we're not necessarily as familiar with in the United States, because in the United States, you can go up to be anything that you want. I mean, Donald Trump went from businessman to television star to president of the United States, and you can be anything you want. And so we have this idea, this concept, even though it may not necessarily be all of our realities, right? Like I'm not walking into wherever and starting to make millions of dollars tomorrow. It's not happening. Likewise, some segments of American society feel stuck in these, we tend to call them like cycles of poverty and whatever. And there are mitigating factors for that are societal. And however, it's not a designated honor, shame, and caste system like we see in other places in history and in other places on the planet today, where you are born into a certain economic strata, and regardless of the hard work, and regardless of what you do, and regardless of how you attempt, you will always remain in that caste. You never break loose of that segment of American society. You're stuck there. Not American society, of whatever society you happen to be born into. You never break loose of that. You're always in that segment, and it will never change. And the part of the reason why it never changes is you're never allowed to interact with, on a serious basis, anybody who's in a different segment, in a different caste. Especially when we start talking about marriages and families overlapping and things like that. So what Plato has created is a kind of caste system. Bronze-souled individuals will forever be bronze-souled individuals, and bronze-souled individuals should be with bronze-souled type individuals. The fact that caliber of soul, whether it's bronze, whether it's silver, whether it's gold, whatever it happens to be, the fact that caliber is never going to change means that you are sort of pigeonholed from an early age in the society Plato is trying to create. The idea is that once we've sort of rightly identified what group, gold, silver, or bronze, you belong to, then you be the absolute best that you can be in that segment. And you can rise to the top of that segment, but you're not transitioning out of that group of individuals, because your soul is an eternal and immutable thing. Eternal, has always been in infinity past and always will be infinity future. And immutable, it is an unchangeable thing. For Plato, the human soul is a transcendent thing that comes to us from the realm of the metaphysical, the realm of ideas. And it is not changeable. You cannot restructure, rewire the human person. Its soul is always going to be that. You can add skills to it, and you can add knowledge, and you can add some of these sorts of things to it, but you can't fundamentally transform what is going on with the human person or the human soul. It's not going to happen. That's Plato's understanding of how this works. This is sort of the method of the metals. Here's what I want you to do before you cut loose to work on your projects. I want you to find a handful of passages that talk about the human person and the biblical idea of being changed or transformed. Okay. Jesus in the transfiguration does not count, by the way. Leaving Jesus aside, look at some of the passages that talk about like change or transformation that occurs with the human person, or the expectation of it, especially in like Paul's letters, after we come to know Christ and the Holy Spirit goes to work in our lives, because the biblical concept of the human person, and the biblical concept of change and transformation are completely not Plato's. And so what I want you to do is do some compare and contrast there in your notes, and we'll pick that up for discussion when I get to see you guys on Tuesday. Okay? Have a good one, guys. We'll see you.